Parker Ray is believed to have tortured and killed more than 50 women inside his soundproof trailer nicknamed the Toy Box. On March 19, 1999, 22-year-old Cynthia Vigil was hooking in a parking lot in Albuquerque, New Mexico, when a man claiming to be an undercover cop told her she was under arrest for solicitation of sex work and put her in the back of his car. He told her she was under arrest and put handcuffs on her. That man was David Parker Ray, and he brought Vigil to his nearby soundproof trailer, which he called his toy box. He then chained her to a gynecologist-type table in the center of the trailer, and over the next 3 days raped and tortured Vigil, with the help from his girlfriend and accomplice, Cindy Hendy. The two of them used whips, medical, and sexual instruments, along with electric shock to torture Vigil. Before her torture, Ray would play a cassette tape with the recording, detailing exactly what she would be forced to endure.
Hello there, bitch. Are you comfortable right now? I doubt it. Wrists and ankles chained, gagged, probably blindfolded. You are disoriented and scared too, I would imagine. Perfectly normal under the circumstances. For a little while, at least, you need to get your shit together and listen to this tape. It is very relevant to your situation. I'm going to tell you, in detail, why you have been kidnapped, what's going to happen to you, and how long you'll be here. I don't know the details of your capture, because this tape is being created July 23rd, 1993, as a general advisory tape for future female captives. The information I'm going to give you is based on my experience dealing with captives over a period of several years. If, at a future date, there are any major changes in our procedures, the tape will be upgraded. Now, you are obviously here against your will. Totally helpless. Don't know where you're at. Don't know what's going to happen to you. You're very scared. Or very pissed off. I'm sure that you've already tried to get your wrists and ankles loose. No, you can't. Now you're just waiting to see what's gonna happen next.
Ray was born on November 6, 1939, in Belen, New Mexico. He was raised by his grandfather, though his father maintained an abusive relationship with him. He had a younger sister, but they were split up when their grandmother died, and in school, rated poorly and was teased for being unusually shy around girls. As a teenager, he abused alcohol and drugs. When he was an adult, he served in the U.S. Army and later became a mechanic. He also married 4 times, each of them ending in divorce. He had 2 daughters, one of whom he lived with for some time. At some point, he started abducting, raping, and torturing women, presumably killing them as well. Exactly how many victims he claimed over the years is uncertain, though he may have started as early as in 1950 when he was still a kid. He spent $100,000 on a trailer, fitting it with sex toys and torture devices, and he named it the Toy Box. On March 22, 1999, an intended victim, Cynthia Vigil, escaped in Elephant Butte, New Mexico after being held captive and tortured in the Toy Box for 3 days. She had waited for Ray to go to work and then taken the keys from his accomplice, his girlfriend, Cindy Hendy. In an almost cinematic moment, Hendy struck her on the head with a lamp in an attempt to knock her out, but Vigil managed to unlock her chains, stab Hendy in the neck with an ice pick from the floor, and run away. wearing only an iron slave collar and the padlocked chains. She made it to a mobile home, and the owner of which let her in, gave her a robe, and called 911. Police officers were already on their way to Ray's address since a 911 call had been made from there, but been interrupted. Both Ray and Hendy were arrested, claiming to have abducted Vigil in an attempt to help her get rid of her heroin addiction. When the officers looked inside the toy box and found, besides the torture devices and sex toys, the fake police badge Ray had used to abduct Vigil in Albuquerque and evidence of Vigil's struggle with Hendy, they arrested them both and charged them with 12 different criminal charges, including kidnapping and aggravated assault. The trial began on March 28, 2000. Just after the jury selection was done, he suffered a heart attack and the trial was postponed. Cynthia Vigil and another surviving victim, Kelly Garrett, testified against him. For some reason, the judge postponed the trial further in order to try Ray for a 1996 murder in Colorado, even though the evidence wasn't very strong. A sheet listing routines for keeping prisoners was excluded along with the torture devices in the toy box since it couldn't be proven that they were in Ray's possession in 1996. On May 7th, shortly before or during Ray's trial for the Colorado murder, Angelica M. died of a drug overdose, taking her testimony to the grave. On May 23rd, the jury selection for Ray's new trial was finally done and he was charged with 12 counts of kidnapping, sexual abuse, and conspiracy. In July, the judge declared a mistrial because the jury couldn't agree on a verdict. Not all of them were persuaded that the testifying victims had been held against their will. In November, a retrial began. A few days into it, the judge passed away. The proceedings couldn't resume until the next April. This time, Ray was not as fortunate and was found guilty on all 12 charges. In June, his second trial began. He made a plea bargain to plead guilty in exchange for his daughter, who had been an accomplice in at least one murder, receiving 5 years of probation. Consequently, Ray faced at least 223 years in prison in 2001. Ray has allegedly admitted to having had an accomplice named Billy Powers, a previous business partner, whom Ray also murdered. On May 28, 2002, Ray was transported to the Lee County Correctional Facility in Hobbs, New Mexico to be questioned by state police. He died of a heart attack before the scheduled interrogation took place at the age of 62. And with him gone, so goes the ever-knowing of how many more victims he may have given up over time. No justice. Not really. And what a damn shame for those families. Thanks for watching.